Hi, my name is Brianna Mead. I'm going to be doing a presentation on drug abuse. In 2013, approximately 24.6 million people use illicit drugs, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Drug abuse is a major problem and is becoming a widely used source of affecting the mind. Some drugs are not as addictive as others, but all of them have massive effects on people, including people's friends and family. Overdose rates are increasing substantially. Peer pressure is a major source that leads kids and teenagers into starting a drug addiction and ruining a chance to a healthy lifestyle. For example, if you are in high school and your friend offers you some marijuana and you say yes, and you perhaps got addicted to the marijuana, then that's how addiction would start. I'll be discussing the drug abuse rates and how it affects people who take drugs, people who witness drugs, and how it affects modern society. So, drug abuse is using a substance irresponsibly to change your behavior and the way the brain works. For example, using a drug such as LSD or heroin or anything serious like would produce hallucinations with the brain. Drug abuse affects society around you, employment, personal health, and the community. So in Marion, Ohio, we are known for the heroin addiction. There's a lot of heroin addiction in Marion. Getting a job is not as hard as it would be in an area where drug addiction was not as common. Personal health effects, losing weight. Some people have experienced major weight loss with starting on drugs. Using drugs in the community. So, for example, from Marion, there have been many arrests, murders, and other. You can have automobile accidents and accidents on the street when people leave needles and all that. Sorry. Drug abuse is a serious misuse of drugs, where your body depends on the substance to function properly. For example, after you've done one drug one time and you feel like you need it to function properly and do daily things. Symptoms of drug abuse include isolation, spending money, not showing up to school or losing jobs, not showing up to work, forgetting basic hygiene, lying, sneaking, or changes in sleeping habits. Using drugs as a teenager has more risks than using it as an adult. A child is more likely to become addicted to drugs. Side effects can include poor judgment, impaired memory, injury, lifelong legal issues, poor mental health, serious health problems, and most commonly overdose. It's important to avoid going to popular clubs and being around people who abuse drugs or may pressure you into using drugs. Drug abuse has many ways of showing in a person. Since it's so common now, it's important to know signs and symptoms of drug addiction. Drug abuse is using a substance irresponsibly to change behavior around and the way the brain works, and drug abuse will affect society, employment, personal health, and the community. 27 million Americans over the age of 12 reported using illicit drugs in 2014. Family, on the other hand, can be affected in many ways. You can lose a person physically, such as overdose causing a death, or mentally. Losing a person mentally when a person starts using drugs, they don't spend as much time around a family because they're more with people who party and do the drugs, and they may lose sight of who they really are or who they really were before, such as changing personality, such as becoming rude or stealing, most commonly stealing from family members valuable items to sell and pawn to get drug money. Family can be affected in many ways, as I said. A drug abuser will act as a person before behind. Family members will be negatively impacted by users, can also have a negative impact on society, such as spreading false rumors or encouraging others to do drugs because they believe people who do drugs deserve the worst that can happen, which can lead to increased overdose rates. People around us every day may use drugs and we may never know. Without proper treatment, society is in danger of being destroyed because of drug addiction itself and how common it is with adults and teenagers. Damage can affect all around society, all around the world, and people in the body. Brain will be damaged, and some symptoms of brain damage from long-term use of illicit drugs is major anxiety and depression, if you have a existing psychotic condition, it can worsen it, such as bipolar disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder. It can cause you not to enjoy the world unless you are on drugs, which leads to the drug abuse, such as depending on the effects of drugs. In conclusion, drug addiction affects society more than you realize just by the name. To your biased opinion on drug addiction itself. However, you dig down on the surface to drug addiction than just, yep, someone died. Society is affected as a whole, communities are affected as a whole, family damage is heartbreaking, losing a person mentally or physically. People who you see every day may be using drugs and you may not even realize it. Maybe they're not changing, maybe they don't use as much as someone who's really addicted, and differences until it's too late. When you know someone who has drug addiction, it's important to support them on overcoming the drug addiction. And some people who get addicted to drugs don't have the strength mentally or physically to overcome the addiction itself. But if with the right encouragement, a person may have more strength knowing that there's people there for them who support them after they overcome this disease. Okay, what time?
Now we wait a few seconds to make sure that the video is saved properly. And then we watch the video back.
Oh, no. I need it already.
I know, but the last time I had one of these recording, I had an issue pulling up the Final Path for one. Something about, if you recently downloaded it, you would it's stupid, but...
Why are you adding me? Person. Who?
You're a host.
No.
Did
Dude,
you
he has a girlfriend.
Did you say that to all your hosts?
No.
Did you say that to all